There's a specific kind of loneliness that only exists at 3 a.m. in a gas station. It's not just silence, it's a heavy, physical weight. The world outside the glass doors ceases to exist. There is only the hum of the slushy machine, the buzzing of the fluorescent lights that gives you a migraine if you look at them too long, and the reflection of your own tired face in the window. My name is Sam, and I worked the graveyard shift at the Midway Stop, a Texaco station on the edge of Route 9, somewhere between civilization and the deep woods of Oregon. I took the job because I was a broke college student, and the night shift paid $1.50 more an hour. $1.50. That was the price of my sanity. That was the price of what happened that Tuesday night. It was raining. Not a storm, just that relentless, miserable drizzle that turns the asphalt into a black mirror. I hadn't seen a car in 3 hours. I was sitting behind the counter, scrolling through Reddit on my phone, trying to ignore the smell of stale hot dog water and floor cleaner. The digital clock on the lottery machine flipped. 3:03 a.m. The witching hour. I yawned, stretching my arms over my head. I was thinking about locking the front doors for a bit to use the bathroom. Company policy said we had to stay open 24/7, but my manager, Jerry, wasn't exactly watching the cameras at this hour. I stood up and walked around the counter to stretch my legs. The store was a brightly lit island in a sea of darkness. Rows of colorful candy wrappers, bags of chips, and coolers full of beer. It all felt so normal, so mundane. Then, the bell rang. Ding dong! I jumped. I hadn't seen headlights. I hadn't heard an engine. Usually you could hear a car pulling off the highway from a mile away, the gravel crunching, the brakes squealing, but there was nothing, just the sudden chime of the door sensor. I looked at the entrance. The glass doors slid open. A gust of wet, cold wind blew in, carrying the scent of pine needles and something else, something like copper or ozone. A man walked in. At first glance, he looked normal. He was tall, wearing a charcoal gray suit that looked expensive but slightly out of style, like something from the 80s. He had a briefcase in his left hand. "Welcome to Texaco," I said, putting on my customer service voice. "Can I help you find anything?" He didn't answer. He didn't even look at me. He walked straight past the counter, heading toward the back of the store where the coolers were. His walk was strange. That was the first red flag. Most people walk with a rhythm, left, right, arm swing, head bob. This man walked smoothly, too smoothly. His upper body didn't move at all. It was like he was gliding on rails, or like a camera on a dolly. His arms hung perfectly straight at his sides, not swinging an inch. Step, step, step. The sound of his dress shoes on the linoleum was heavy, loud. Clack, clack, clack. I went back behind the counter, feeling a prickle of unease on the back of my neck. Just a weirdo, I told myself. Probably a businessman driving all night, tired out of his mind. I watched him on the parabolic mirror mounted in the corner. He stopped in front of the dairy cooler. He stood there for a long time, maybe 2 minutes, just staring at the milk. He didn't open the door. He didn't check the prices. He just stood there, rigid as a statue. Then he turned. Not a natural turn. He didn't shift his weight. He pivoted. His feet stayed planted and his torso twisted, followed by his legs. It looked mechanical. He started walking toward the meat section. We didn't have a butchery or anything, just a small refrigerated section next to the sodas where we kept packs of cheap ham, hot dogs, and occasionally raw ground beef for the locals who didn't want to drive into town. He stopped in front of the raw meat. He opened the glass door. The cold mist rolled out. He reached in and grabbed a package of raw ground beef, the 1-pound styrofoam tray wrapped in plastic. Then he grabbed another and another. He stacked 4 packages of raw meat in his arms. As he approached the register, I got my first good look at his face. My stomach dropped. My lizard brain, the primal part of me that evolved to spot predators in the grass, started screaming, "Run!" He was handsome in a generic way. Strong jawline, slicked back dark hair, smooth skin. Too smooth. His skin didn't have pores. It looked like wax or high-quality silicone. Under the harsh fluorescent lights, it had a slight sheen to it, but not like sweat, like plastic. But it was the eyes that froze me. They were blue, a piercing, electric blue, but they were wide open, too wide. He wasn't blinking. In the entire time he walked from the back of the store to the counter, about 10 seconds, he didn't blink once. He placed the 4 packages of raw meat on the counter. Slap, 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 slap. The sound of the cold meat hitting the laminate was wet and heavy. "Did you find everything okay?" I asked. My voice cracked. I cleared my throat. "Just the beef tonight?" He looked at me. He didn't turn his head, he just shifted his eyes. "Yes," he said. His voice, God, his voice. It didn't sound like it was coming from his throat. It sounded like it was coming from a speaker buried somewhere deep inside his chest. It was deep, resonant, and completely flat. No inflection, no emotion, like a GPS navigation system, but worse. "And tobacco," he added. Sure," I said, turning to the cigarette wall. "What brand?" "The red ones," he said, "with the flavor of burning." I paused, my hand hovering over a pack of Marlboros. "The flavor of burning?" "Marlboro Red," he corrected himself, but the way he said it was odd. He said it phonetically, Mar-ul-bo-ro, as if he was reading the word for the first time from a script in his head. I grabbed the pack and slammed it on the counter. I just wanted him out. The air around him smelled wrong. It didn't smell like rain or cologne. It smelled like hot electronics, like a computer tower that had been running for too long and was about to melt. "All right," I said, scanning the items. "That'll be $24.50. He didn't move. He just stared at me with those wide, unblinking blue eyes. His mouth was set in a straight line. Then, slowly, the corners of his mouth began to twitch upward. It wasn't a smile. It was a simulation of a smile. It went up and up and up. It stretched too wide. It showed too many teeth. His teeth were perfect, white and square, uniform, like a denture strip. "You are alone," he stated. It wasn't a question. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead. My hand drifted under the counter, inches away from the silent alarm button. "My manager is in the back," I lied. "He's doing inventory. He'll be out in a second." The man's smile didn't falter. He didn't look toward the back room. He kept his eyes locked on mine. "There is no biomass in the rear chamber," he said. "I scanned it." Biomass? Who talks like that? "Look, man," I said, trying to sound tougher than I felt. "Do you want the stuff or not? I got work to do." He stared at me for another long, agonizing moment. Then he looked down at the raw meat. He picked up one of the packages. He pressed his thumb into the plastic, squishing the red meat underneath. He seemed fascinated by the texture. "The flesh is soft, fragile. It's ground beef. Yeah, it's soft. Are you soft, Samuel?" He knew my name. I wasn't wearing my name tag. I had left it in my car. I was wearing a plain black hoodie over my uniform shirt. There was no way he could know my name. "How do you know my name?" I whispered, taking a step back. He didn't answer. He reached into his suit pocket. My heart hammered. Gun. He has a gun. I pressed the silent alarm button. I held it down. But he didn't pull out a weapon. He pulled out a handful of cash, but it wasn't normal cash. It was crumpled, dirty, and damp. He dropped it on the counter. It was a wad of $100 bills, covered in a dark, sticky substance. It looked like oil or blood that had turned black. "Keep the remainder," he said. I can't take this," I stammered. "This is too much." "Transaction complete," he said. He scooped up the meat and the cigarettes. He didn't use a bag. He just held the cold, wet packages against his expensive suit. He turned to leave, and that's when the glitch happened.